Hello, beautiful Limitless Mom community. How is everybody today? Oh, for some reason, there we go. That's better. I think it's got me. Sorry, my phone came up with a symbol that it wanted me to shift directions for some reason. Anyway, we're here, we're perfect, we're live. So if you are jumping on live and watching live, come and say hello. Let me know you're here. Hopefully I'll be able to see your comments come up and chat with me, ask questions, just communicate and talk with me because it's fun. And if you are watching on replay, as always, hashtag replay and comment along as if you were here live, and I'll come back and answer all of your questions then. And if you are new to this space, welcome to the community. My name is Amber Sherelle. I'm a mind empowerment mentor and success mentor for mums and mums in business who have big ambitions and goals that they want to achieve and are perhaps lacking the confidence or feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious or just struggling to create the impact and success that they desire in their businesses. And that's what I'm here for. So if that's you, you're in the right space, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I wanted to come and talk to you about the signs of stress. Now, a lot of the work that I do, a lot of the resources that I share, a lot of the things that we have inside the Limitless Mom Academy, talk about how to relieve stress, to reduce anxiety, to cultivate more peace and calm internally, to find more clarity and confidence. Hi Siobhan, lovely to see you, gorgeous soul. Talk about, I give you the tools and resources to manage those things once they've happened. But as they say in the care world or the health world, prevention is better than cure, right? And so actually starting to understand the early signs, I'm talking about the early signs of stress, before they actually become you, before they start really impacting your ability to show up for your family, for your children, for your business, from that place of calm and from that place of presence and patience that we all want to be in, right? It doesn't feel good in your body to be in that stress state. So I want to help you today just to really start to identify the early signs of stress before stress becomes overwhelming and starts impacting your life in all of those ways. So before I kind of delve into those early signs, we all are probably at some point, I highly doubt there isn't a single person on this planet that can say they don't know what stress feels like to them. I want you to connect with that for a moment and just remind yourself that even if you're not in a stress space at the moment, which is perfect, beautiful, I don't want you to be, ever. But if you are in, I want you to just connect with what stress feels like to you. How does that feel in your body? How does that show up in your daily behaviours and your actions? How do you feel when you're in that stress state? So we're all quite familiar with what it feels like to get to that point of where you're overly stressed, overwhelmed with perhaps the responsibilities of motherhood, the responsibilities of running your business, the pressure, and just that never-ending to-do list, right? And so I just want you to be aware of that and how that feels, because when you have reached that stage, then we have to use the tools and techniques. We can avoid, or let's say address, the early symptoms of stress before you reach that point that you just connected with in your body. We don't have to get to that place if we are aware enough to recognize the small things that are happening on a daily basis that may show that we are heading for that stress overwhelm state. So what does it look like before we actually reach that boiling point? What can we look out for that enables us to lean into the tools or to address situations before they become overwhelming? So some of the early signs that you might be feeling more stressed than usual, and just as I'm talking through these, just note if any of them are speaking to you at the moment, or if you've recognised them in yourself now or in the past. Share with us in the comments if you want to. You don't have to, but just note as I go through some of these. So one of the very earliest signs of stress can be irritability. Now, I don't mean pure anger, but I mean where you are starting to feel slightly snappy with people around you. Maybe you're trying to focus on something and starting to feel just like a little bit frustrated or a little bit irritable with what you're doing. So irritability is one of our very first warning signs of that stress state coming. And irritability comes from the fact that we have an external pressure. We have maybe things to do, lots of things that we want to do and accomplish, or our mind is on something very specific, a problem or a challenge, something that we're trying to solve or something that we're trying to get done. And internally, we lack the resource to accomplish it. I mean, this is where all stress starts, right? So we lack the resource. Now, the resource could be money, finances. It could be something outside of us. It could be a material resource. But a lot of the time, the resource that we're lacking is either energy or clarity or something that resides within you. Trust, faith, confidence, right? Maybe it's, when I say energy, you know, physical energy, like I'm feeling tired in my body, but it can also be that mental. I don't have the mental resource or the mental capacity for this right now. And so anything outside of you that distracts you from the thing that you're trying to solve, the thing that you've got your mind focused or attentive on, anything that is either a distraction from that or an additional pressure to that can lead to you feeling irritable. And it doesn't have to be a big pressure. It can be simply a request, you know, and probably those of us who are work-at-home mums have experienced this, and maybe if you're not even a work-at-home mum, you'll have experienced this, but where you've got your head in a project, you're doing a task, you really want to focus on it, it's really important to you, it feels a little bit pressured, and then your child comes and asks you for a drink or a snack or to play or whatever. And their request is completely reasonable. They're thirsty, they're hungry, they want some attention, you know, they're human beings, they have needs that we have to meet. And they ask you for that drink or snack, and all of a sudden you're like, what? But just wait a minute. That is an early sign of stress. And so if you can catch yourself in that irritable, like in that mode, in that moment, you now want to take the moment to recognize that, okay, I'm feeling pressured and under-resourced, and identify what the pressure or resource is. And then we can start leaning into the tools to help you address that before this becomes overwhelming stress. Another early warning sign might be the inability to sleep. And of course, you can see that the inability to sleep is going to deplete your resources even further, because we're not able to get the rest that we need, we're not able to recoup the energy that we need. But starting to recognize that if, as you're, you know, getting ready for bed, you lay down, you're there, you're ready to sleep, but your mind is maybe running over 3 or 4 different things, or you know, you want to sleep, you feel physically tired, but mentally there is this dialogue going on, or you're just really struggling to drop off into that sleep state. This can be an early sign of stress. It can be a sign that you have a lot of things going on, a lot of things to think about, or a specific thing that's providing a lot of pressure, and at the present time don't feel like you have the resources to deal with it. The issue with sleep is, and sleep is such a big one, because the issue with sleep is that the less sleep that you get, the more under-resourced that you become. So catching this early, catching these early signs of stress state, so that you can, you know, either fix your sleep routines, help you empty out your mind, lean into journaling and writing it all down, or boxing and shelving it, knowing that whatever it is you need to deal with, there's time to do with tomorrow, or making sure you get to bed a little bit earlier, or switching off the phone so that you're not being, you know, hammered by the light of the phone. All of the things that we know can disrupt our sleep. If we're drawing attention to the fact that sleep is one of those early warnings of stress, of course we want to deal with the issue, but we also want to get the sleep so that we can recoup our energy, right? Because a lack of energy is going to lead to us feeling more under-resourced and therefore creating more stress. So sleep is a really big one. It's an early warning sign, but it's also a sign, it's also something that we have to do something about, or should do something about, and want to do something about, because the implications of that for that spiral of stress continuing, it is quite a big one. Hi Ariel, lovely to see you, gorgeous soul. Okay, so we've got irritability, we've got the inability to sleep when we want to sleep, when we know that we need to sleep, and what other warning signs, what other early warning signs of stress do we have? Okay, So not being able to focus, struggling to focus on the present moment or on the thing that you're doing, so feeling your mind starting to wander, can be an early warning sign of stress. Being forgetful, so forgetting things. So, maybe it's appointments, maybe it's physically, like forgetting the keys when you leave the house. But if you start noticing that you're becoming more forgetful of things, it's going to be an early warning sign of entering that stress state and entering that stress cycle. Perhaps it's disorganization. So when we're stressed, when we're feeling under-resourced, or when we have our attention on a specific problem or challenge, everything else can fall by the wayside. We can start to recognize that we're becoming, maybe it's disorganized in your files, maybe it's disorganized with your time, maybe it's your space and your environment, you're starting to get a bit more cluttered. And I'm talking about, this is for somebody, because not all of us are, neat and tidy, love our clear spaces and all of those. Some of us, live at various levels of organisation naturally. But I'm talking about when that level of organisation slips beyond your norm. Excuse me. So what I mean by this is that, even if you don't always keep the tidiest space when you're in a place of calm, you might start noticing that things are becoming more disorganized. So piles of washing are piling up. You're getting to the end of the day and realizing that it's dinner time and I haven't yet even thought about what we're going to have for dinner, and the fridge hasn't got stuff in that I can make dinner, so now I've got to run to the shop. That level of disorganization, that is out of the norm for you, and I want to really highlight that because everyone has a different threshold when it comes to disorganization, mess, how they organize their life and their spaces. So this isn't just, if your everyday norm is to be a little bit scattier than usual, you'll know that, but you'll recognize when it's increasing, like when it's increasingly getting worse. This can be a sign of stress because it's that lack of resource. It's always going to come back to lack of resource. So I'm not going to keep saying that, but just note that each of these things come back to that sense of lack of resource. So we've had irritability, sleep, or struggling to get to sleep. We've had distraction, or feeling distracted, unable to focus. We've had disorganization, forgetfulness. So all of these can be signs of early stress state. So a couple of other things that I haven't mentioned. There's more, and I want you to tap into your body and start to recognize what your early warning signs are, because we don't all experience stress in the same way. We don't all have the same physical responses. We don't all have the same subconscious ways of dealing or responding to pressure. So you will have your own early warning signs. It's really important for you that this isn't an extensive list, but a really one that most of us, or many of us, will experience. These are ones that are quite common, but you might have your own early warning signs. So it's really important to start tapping into that and actually asking yourself, what are the first signs of me becoming stressed? So another sign, we spoke about not being able to sleep, but also extreme tiredness. So sometimes when we're stressed, what happens is that sometimes our autonomic nervous system will go into a state of what we call freeze or shutdown. And essentially when we move into this state, we start feeling tired. We want to rest more. We don't want to move. We don't want to do things. And this is probably getting into a deeper state of stress. This might not be one of the first signs that you see, but it could be that, by 2:00 in the afternoon, you're absolutely exhausted, right? Or that when you concentrate on something for a long period of time, you find that you're not able to, it's not just the focus piece, but you actually find yourself physically getting tired. Your eyes are starting to feel heavier. You just want to lay down and sleep. And this is kind of going into that, it's tiredness, and this can also cross over into shutdown, where every task starts to feel like it's too much, where anything that you're being asked to do starts to make you feel tired. It starts to make you just want to curl up and lay on the sofa and stick on your favourite TV show, or literally just want to sleep. So when I say that not being able to fall to sleep can be one early sign of stress, but the opposite of this can also be an early sign of stress, where you are actually potentially sleeping a lot more than you normally would. And I've heard people say that this is avoidance, like trying to avoid the things that you've got to do, but I think it is so much more than that. It is a nervous system response. It's a way. It's a protection. It's a mode of protection. And so again, recognizing, am I tired because I haven't been sleeping? Am I tired because I've actually exerted a lot of energy? Or am I tired because I'm finding things a little bit stressful and it's the stress that I need to relieve, not necessarily, or the pressures that I need to find a way to relieve, and not necessarily because I'm actually using the energy that I've got available to me. And it can be a combination of both. This isn't a black and white picture. None of this is a black and white picture. There could be a combination of all sorts of things going on, but it's about recognizing the signs. So tiredness. And the last thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is immunity. So I won't go into the details. There's a lot of science behind this, but just I want to keep this short and to the point. Immunity is a big part of our early warning signs for stress. So when we are feeling stressed, we release certain chemicals into our body. And if you've been in my space for a while, you've heard me talk about these before: cortisol, adrenaline, okay. And these chemicals that we release when we start to get stressed, when that amygdala is ringing that alarm bell and the stress signal's gone off, we're feeling that there's a threat to us, and our system essentially releases these chemicals, and these chemicals affect the way that we feel, but they also affect our actual biological responses, our biological systems. And they can affect our immunity. So when we're in a stress state, our immunity is reduced, and our digestive systems are reduced, slowed down. And so the reason I'm explaining this is because actually if you're finding yourself picking up more bugs than usual, getting colds more frequently, maybe having more headaches than usual, right? Headache can be a really a very common early sign of stress. But if you're finding that your immunity seems to have dipped, you're picking up stuff more frequently, then this can be a sign also that you are entering that stress state. So again, all of these things together, you might experience more than one early sign of stress. You might experience just one of those to begin with. Over time, if you don't address that pressure, or you don't address, use the tools available to you, then of course you might start experiencing several of them. So I'm throwing this out here today so that you can start to become aware of when you are dipping into those states. If, as you're listening to this, your mind went to, okay, that's great, but I'm already stressed. I know I'm stressed. I'm already in that overwhelmed stress state. Yes, I am experiencing more headaches. Yes, I am more irritable and snappy with the ones I love. Yes, I am feeling more angry. Yes, I am feeling tired, or I am struggling to sleep because of the pressures. If you're already there, if you're already at that space and you're like, well, now what do I do from here? There are lots and lots of things that you can do. We can use mindfulness, meditation, delegation. We can look at our boundaries. We can look at the way that we're eating, the way that we're moving, right? So there are so many different things that we can actually start to look at and start to address. And these are all things that I cover and talk about inside the Academy. And specifically, so there are 3 courses inside of the Academy, one of which is Flourish and Flow. And Flourish and Flow is designed to help you very literally bring more inner peace and calm into your everyday. It's there to give you the tools and resources to enable you to deal with stress, overwhelm, anxiety, so that you can show up more patiently, and also to give you more time availability, because time is one of the biggest resources that we find stress around. So one of the resources can be energy. It might be money and finances, but for moms that seem to have a lot of responsibility, especially those who are running their own businesses that have a lot of things to think about and to do, and like one of the biggest things that I hear from moms, I just don't have enough time in my day to do it all. So Flourish and Flow actually helps you to address the resource of time as well as the internal resources. So I'm throwing this out here as, if you're experiencing any of these now, all of the tools that you need to help you overcome that are inside of the academy. There have been numerous lives and things that I've done inside of this space that will also help you, so go back and have a look at some of the trainings here inside of the community if you want to. And for those of you who aren't in that space right now, yay, I'm super happy for you. And I also want you to be aware of those early warning signs so that you can do something about it before stress overwhelms you. So I hope this has been useful for you today. I would love to hear from you your own early warning signs of stress. Like I said, this is not an extensive list, but put some thought into this so that you can start identifying stress earlier and supporting yourself earlier, so that you can step back into that space of empowerment, so that stress doesn't actually become you, and it doesn't filter into your business, and it doesn't filter into how you interact with your children. So really, really, my biggest desire for all of you is to be able to find joy and happiness and fun and fulfillment and excitement within your business. And my biggest wish for you with your families is for you to be more present and patient and have that time and mental capacity to enjoy your time with your children and your families. So I'm hoping that you take all of this from today and use it and apply it and create awareness around it so that you can start creating the shifts in your life that you want to see. So beautiful community, that's all from me today, sending you lots of love and light. If you want more information about the Academy, I'll drop the link underneath this post. And if you have any questions about the Academy, just send them to me. You can message me directly, comment beneath the video, or you can email me at info@ambersherelle.com and I will be happy to answer anything you have to ask. All right, my lovelies, hopping off for now. Take care. Bye-bye.